Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing today? Welcome to this week, Business Weekly, the executive model. Today's theme is media as an executive tool, not a marketing task. And I'm excited to have our guest coming on shortly, but I want to welcome you here to Business Weekly. I'm Miss J, and we're here on Love Bay, Afrobeat, Music Talk Radio. Yes, it's going to be one of those evenings where the glitch is real. Now, we all know that 2026 is here. And like I said, new year, new conversations. Each week, I'm going to be examining business, markets, and economic movement through an executive and decision maker lens. Now, this is not a consumer show. These conversations are for leaders thinking about positioning, influencing, and long term consequences. Now, if you followed my work, I know some people are still asking, where's the coaching side? And let me tell you, it is still there, but it's going to be now on the Empire Chronicles on my YouTube channel, Empire by Design Media. So keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, in between time, together, both shows gives what every leader needs, context and clarity. Now, if you find these conversations valuable, be sure to subscribe to Business Weekly right here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, where business meets culture. Also follow us on IG at Love Bay Radio and EBD Media for a lot of great shorts and reels that are going to highlight these shows that you can come back to YouTube and watch it in full. Now, today we're really talking about media, and we now know that media is just no longer marketing. It's really about leadership visibility, narrative control, and strategic access. So joining me today is someone who works in the intersection of social media and executive strategy. Please welcome Georgette DEHANEY, the social media strategist, CEO, and founder of COC Socials.
Hey,
Where's she at? Where's she at?
I'm
Ah,
here. Can you hear
hey,
me?
girly girl. How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's one of
Good.
those word salads today, so just be easy with me.
You easy with me because I'm feeling that same way. So we're on the same wavelength. Good food.
Yes, okay. So I hope yours, mine's is kale. So whatever yours may be.
Don't start. Don't start.
I'm gonna ask Mr. T if you can pull us into a smaller setting. I find when mine's is big, it's glitching a lot. Okay, thanks. Yes. And now I feel like my mouth is not moving at the speed of the screen.
Okay.
Well, thank you for coming. We're talking about media today, but just not in the same sense that, we talk about it in startups or in sustainability phase. We know
Right.
today executives are, really being advised to show up online, but few
Hmm.
are shown how to do it strategically.
Yeah,
And the cost of visibility mistakes feel high, but so does the cost of invisibility, right?
that's right. Definitely.
So let's jump into this conversation. The first question I really want to start off in is the topic of media shifting. So, from your perspective, how has the role of social media changed for executives from a marketing activity to more of a strategic leadership tool?
Well, thanks for having me, first of all.
Oh, of
I'm glad to be on
course.
here and oh, I'm glad to be on and sharing this perspective because, as most people know, that COC, we talk a lot about small businesses and how they can show up with
Mhm.
confidence and with purpose. So now, speaking on the leadership executive level, it's great because some of the executives that I've worked with or the leaders that I've worked with, they don't want to be on social media. They are just like, no, what are ads for? Right? That's you. So the shift has basically happened from them being on a personal platform to share things and just talk about their business with family and friends, keep them up to date. It has shifted over to now actually talking about their business and what they do and how they can influence, how they're sharing their insights, their perspective, and also their decision making. They have to shift to be that inside person of the company because now
Mhm.
people are not just buying from logos anymore. They're coming in and they're looking for people to relate,
That's very,
right?
very true. Very true.
Mhm.
And, I mean, it's being reframed as, oh, I'm falling apart. It's being reframed. It's falling apart. Um, if y'all don't know, Georgette and I go way back, and
Way
so
back.
we work together with a lot of execs, and I'm in business, her in media, and we have fun. So this just might just going to be the same situation. Just don't mind us when we go off
Just
on our own little. our own little world.
And I get the giggles and can't stop. So I asked you not to start. So let's
I know.
just
I'm trying
okay,
not
we're
to.
good.
All right, here we go. Reset the room. So we know that you've been talking a lot about reframing media as infrastructure, right? Because you always say post with intention. And I think a big part of that is establishing authority very early into the game.
Yes.
So if we were to shift now to more of an executive mindset shift, what do you think the biggest mindset shift executives need to make to use social media more effectively without becoming content creators themselves?
Well, that's it. And that's what the issue is when they think that they have to be on social media, they have to dance, they have to point, they got to sing, they got to do all kinds of stuff. And that's not the case. Being a thought leader and a leader of your company, you're coming on now and you want to share that. So they have to move and shift the thought of being a content creator to a content source, being
Mm,
a source for their business, but
mhm.
on a relatable level.
Yeah,
Does
okay,
that
that
make
makes
sense?
sense. No, it does make
Right?
sense. And I think that level of relatability that you're talking about, it kind of moves away from the CEO, right? Because we know
Right.
in smaller businesses, the CEO is the
Everything.
core, right? So
Yeah.
you have to dance and sing because honestly, you can't afford to pay anybody else to do so. But when we're talking about it from an executive lens,
Mhm.
the product or the service really becomes the key focus
That's right.
and
Yeah.
how people utilize it.
That's right. And their job is to provide a perspective, their experience on how their product, their business is running, and their decisions and how they make their decisions. And it's all in a public eye now because we know once they find out who that name is or who that person is, it's easy to go and find out about them. So why not utilize it and use it in the positive eye to uplift the business and to share people, bring them behind the scenes kind of thing, bring them behind the curtain of how you're running this business or leading this particular business.
Mm. Now, does that have any kind of impact? Because, I mean, in your experience dealing with leaders who've been in businesses for very long, they're not used to this whole social media era. How do you remove that resistance for senior leaders who are like, back in my day, we just put it in the phone book, you know?
That's it.
Like,
Yeah, and it's them thinking, well, that's what we pay for. That's what we pay ads for. Like that's why we
mhm,
have ad spend. That's why we're doing all of that. Why do I have to be on the camera? Why do I have to be online? And it's really to bring a human feel to the business and people to realize
yeah,
that they're not just stuck in an office. Um, just writing on a pad and shooting out numbers and making phone calls, like they're doing other things too, and it's them trying to, we need to bring them to the forefront to do that. So that shift definitely has to happen, and for them to to share that
mhm,
perspective and that decision making.
yeah.
But I feel like I didn't answer that question. I feel like I went off on a little tangent there.
It's natural. We'll just I heard the answer myself, but we'll stay there.
Share it.
Well, I think no, but I hear what you're saying, and I wanted to attach to that. That essentially, when we're talking about that delegation or that authorship, it looks a little bit different than it did because you're right. Back in the day, it was ads. I mean, today it still is.
It is,
I think people
but
forget.
it's in conjunction with,
Exactly. Like it's almost now like you have to just kind of be where the people are, and the people are on social media, right?
Mhm,
So yes, you
mhm,
might have a billboard ad. Yes, you might have, bus stop ads, train
mhm.
ads, right? The whole point about advertising is to advertise to where people are. And so using it as an executive tool, it helps to remove that resistance because now you can actually delegate that, right? I mean, you've
Yes.
had a series of executives who've been contacting you lately from when we last discussed or from our discussion, who are
Mhm,
contacting you to try to bring you in now to
mhm.
come in and do contract work for specifically
For
social
specifically
media.
that, yes. Because they have team members, but these are people that possibly are savvy with social media, but not strategic with it. They're just like posting to post. We got to get out there. We got to show people the face. And so I have that resistance with some of the executives. They're just like, okay, can I just keep sharing and reposting what our business page is sharing?
Mhm.
Yeah, you can, but are you getting any interaction? Are you getting any meeting setups? Are you having any type of collaboration or community building with just sharing?
Yeah.
So I had to start from just sharing and making sure that they share a caption with that post. And it's like when
Mm.
I say to the other businesses that we work
Baby
with,
steps.
baby steps. So that's what we're doing. And I'm like, you have to be able to give them a reason of why you're sharing this, not only because you're the CEO or the executive of this company, but tell them why we're doing this and why they should read it. And then when we move from that step, now we're going to start talking about your leadership skills and things that you do to run this business. And you need a team to do that. It's just like
Mhm.
anything else that executives do. They have other team members that do certain aspects and certain parts of jobs for the business. So
Right.
social media is no different. They don't need to take that on. If they want to, there are some people that love it and they want to
Like,
do it. They're like,
hey,
"Georgette,
yeah, yeah.
come, let's just record. I will post. I'll do my own scheduling." And then there's the others that are like, "Listen, give me a script. Tell me, ask. This is the kind of question I want to answer. Create the question and record me." And
Yeah,
then we go.
I think there's an education now that comes with them understanding the process of positioning in media and how, small businesses are going viral overnight in a way because they
Yeah.
understand that positioning. So let's jump into a little bit more about the platform strategy because not everywhere is energy, right? And so from an executive standpoint, how should leaders decide where to show up, whether that's LinkedIn, YouTube, or elsewhere without spreading themselves too thin?
And so that's a good question. And sometimes people come to me and they ask me, they're like, what platform should I go on? That's not the question they need to ask. They need to ask, or I ask them, what platform do you believe will have the most impact for your business?
Mhm.
So you don't need to be everywhere and stretching yourself thin. Different businesses need to be sometimes everywhere, for example,
Right.
depending on what their product, their service base is. However,
Mhm.
you still need to be on those platforms strategically. So the biggest one is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck in
Mm.
layman's terms, right?
Right.
Where are you going to be that people are going to be interested in what you have to say? Because now you're speaking as an executive. You're not just
Mhm.
going to be posting pictures or videos of certain things. You will be sharing, but now you're going to be speaking. You're going to be
Mhm.
talking to certain things of the business aspects. You're going to be that thought leader. So the question isn't what or where I should post. It's where will you have the most impact, or where
Yeah.
will the business have the most impact?
Yeah. One of the things I'm learning, even through my own social media journey, is one platform, one purpose. And especially when you have a lot of products or services,
Yes,
it's
yes,
easy
yes.
to get caught up rolling everything into one. And I've done this repeatedly, just throw everything on one and say,
Just
wish for the
share,
best, right?
just share, right? Yeah.
Right? But now it's more like, well, for example, Business Weekly should only be on my EBD media page, not on my coaching page, which is Empire by Design,
Yeah.
right? And so that even those little pieces of strategic restraint shows power is
Mhm,
power within the
mhm.
industry, right? Because you're kind of angling up. Tell me if
Right.
I'm wrong here. I feel like I'm
No, no, no,
not
that's
the
good.
guru of all things social media, but I'm getting better versed at it.
But let's just go over it. I had a quick note here just to remind myself to say that LinkedIn, when you're posting on LinkedIn, it's for credibility and for partnerships, right?
Mhm.
YouTube is for in-depth teaching and authority building. So if that's what your business needs to do to gain traction, business collaborations, that's where you would be. So you got to pick the right one. Instagram and Facebook is like culture, personality, community, and relatability. So you
Mhm.
really got to think about your business and
Mhm.
where your people are. And then
Yeah.
that's where you will go. And then you can go into other platforms. Nobody's saying to be one and done. You can be one and done, but you can be on
Mhm.
all. But master one and understand what that background, that engagement is doing for your business. So that way you can build that and then move on to other ones. So be if you feel like being on other platforms.
Yeah, and I think one of the other pieces that you think about is which platforms really are conversion versus awareness, right? I think there's some expectation. Well, I posted, great, but people aren't on here to buy. I mean, I remember where an article I was reading where they said how IG and Facebook, these platforms are no longer really even social, right? They've become so top heavy for sales conversion, ads and whatnot that now, like I mean, I can't even tell you what my friends, are doing because I don't even see them in the algorithm if they're not posting like on a super regular, right?
That's right. And I'm going to tell you the honest truth. I've been off Facebook for so long because I've been in the trenches with my business, and business is
Mhm.
coming from Instagram. And then I started going back on to Facebook, and I didn't even feel bad or uncomfortable because no, there are people posting about their life, but everybody's posting about what they made, who they're making it for, what their business is about. So
Yeah.
we have to shift with the times.
Yeah,
That's
that is
that's
shift
just
with the
it.
time. Love that. We're just going to do a mid-show reset here. If you're now entering, welcome. You're tuned into Business Weekly on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, your home for insight, innovation, and inspiration. We want to make sure you're showing support. So like, share, comment, and subscribe. Stay connected on the go by downloading the Love Bay Radio app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. And as always, I will always plug forever and forever, in order for growth to occur, the coins must be secured. So visit our website to make a donation. Every contribution helps to continue serving you. We'd like to hear from you, so reach out at 437-778-3299. So if you're just tuning in, we are here discussing how executives are using media as a strategic tool with CEO and founder of CLC Social, Miss Georgette DeHaney, and she's using it not just as a strategic, she's using it as a strategic tool, not just a marketing task. So let's jump further into the conversation. So far, we've covered three key areas. We talked about how media has shifted. We talked about the executive mindset, and we just spoke about the platform strategy. I want to kind of roll into media as credibility currency. All right. How does a well-positioned media presence change conversations before an executive even enters the room with
Well,
clients, partners, or stakeholders?
well, like I said before, people are not buying from the logo anymore or that part of the brand. They're buying from the person. So it is easy to find out who is running the company, and any specific company, you can find out who's running any specific department per se.
Mhm.
So now what it is, it's your digital reputation. People look you up before they meet you.
Right.
Once upon a time, you would just know you're going to a networking event and you know who the speaker is going to be, and you might go onto their website. Well, what are people doing now? They're going onto social media. They're scrolling, seeing how you're behaving, what you're posting about, what your interests are, what food you like. Do you drink coffee? Like, they're looking at you with a fine-tooth comb. So you have to remember that's your digital reputation, and then you're out there. People are looking you up, and you got to be you got to represent. You have to
Yeah.
represent. So it's going to share your leadership styles and your experience, and you have to be able to know and be comfortable that that's what people are going to be doing.
Yes, 100%. Pre-sold trust. That's what that is, right? They want authority before access, and
That's right.
and now it's easy. Like back in the day, you could do a fake it till you make it, and look like you're coming out the helicopter. And
Oh, I remember that reel.
you remember that, right?
I do. Oh, that was funny. Yes,
This
yes.
man did not do his editing. Like it was so hilarious. I remember like literally sitting and watching that thing a million times because I
It's
was just
crazy.
like, did the man not see that like he didn't edit him jumping off the
It was
helicopter that was
That's right.
parked?
Part. No, no, no pilot, no nothing. The door was already closed, so the door was closed and he was standing there, and then he jumps off. Well, are you coming out of the helicopter? It was hilarious, but it goes to show, fake it till you make it. But you know what? I would
But do the
definitely say,
proper editing.
get the editing out right. Well, me, like, figure that part out first.
Do
Yeah,
the
that is
proper
absolutely
editing.
crazy. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I see our audience
Definitely.
is coming in. Hey, ladies,
Pardon?
how are you? Thank you, thank you. I'm having all type of glitches going on with my laptop today, but we continue. We continue. I can't see the names yet, but definitely want to say hello. So I want to jump now more into influence versus visibility.
Mm.
So many leaders are chasing or they chase reach and engagement. But from your experience, what's the difference between being visible and being influential at the next level or at the
Okay.
executive level? Sorry, I should say.
Okay, so let me just go back to when you said people are chasing that. Executives don't chase those metrics.
Hmm.
The executives that I have been working with, the CEOs, it's a little bit different because they're going in and they feel like if they have more likes, more followers, they're gonna sell. They're gonna sell more. And
Hmm.
we know that's not the case, but that's another show. So my executives are not really on the point of I didn't get any likes or how many likes am I getting. I go back into the insights and I basically say to them, this is where it's viewed. You've had this many views. This is how many comments you had. So we have to build it up. So ultimately, being an influence is being trusted.
Mm.
Right. So somebody is influences certain makeup, uh, food, drinks, and they trust that person. So they're going to go forward and they're going to purchase that product. So it's
Mhm.
going to be the same thing for executives. You have to be trusted for people to take you as an influencer.
Right. That's true.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. That's very
And
true.
they have to take your perspective seriously on top of that. Like
Hmm.
you can't be a joke
Yeah.
in terms of selling something serious or expressing the seriousness of your business,
Yeah.
the capacity of it. Like you can joke around and there could be some comical things on there, but ultimately to be an influencer in your league, you have to be trusted 100%.
And when you look at the teams, the size teams, oh, there they are. The comments are coming in.
Oh, I
Hey,
see them now.
yeah,
Hey.
Empress Singh is in the building. Hello, Empress Singh. I saw Sweet Spot Rooted in Resilience is in the building. Thank you. All of the growing executives are coming into the building, so I'm excited. Oh, we also have Carrie from Surf is in the
Hey.
building. Hey, ladies. Um, I like what you said there in terms of, just how they show up. And, when you work with massive teams, especially in product heavy businesses, right? There's
Right.
usually a very heavy team that they used to have to carry, one who could do photography, the other who could do the editing, and this one who could do this and do that. Do you find in your experience that those teams are shrinking or are they growing?
Um, it definitely will depend on the product and the budget. So a lot of companies right now are using their internal team. And like I touched on earlier, if they're savvy with social media, they got the job.
Mhm.
However, it's not at the forefront. So they will post a little bit, but they're almost like that posting ghost type of thing. They're posting to get things out there, but they have their job to do. So my
Mhm.
job is to let executives know that it's a separate job
Mhm.
and it needs its own hours to be able to create it properly and to do what it needs to do or that what you hire or what you're wanting it to do.
Yeah.
So that ROI is very, very important. And so depending on budget and depending on what their service or product is, they're either using internal or hiring external. And I've been on that external end and being able to come in on teams. And sometimes and I'm a sometimes I come in just for strategy. Sometimes I'm coming in for social media management. And sometimes I'm going in to just train the internal team how to
Mhm.
do things properly, how to schedule things, how to just to organize the whole platform because they're just winging it. Because, yeah, forgive me, they're 27, they're 32, and they're just very savvy with social media. So they just think they can
Mhm.
do the same thing that they do for their own personal
Mhm.
social media. It's not
Right.
this.
So not the same.
It's
There was
not this.
the question, if you can just bring that up, Mr. T, so that it can be answered. I can't remember it offhand. So when it comes up, oh, there it is. So rooted in resilience therapy has asked. I've been told no one buys certain services on social media, such as therapy or professional services. Is this true?
I would say false because everybody's buying something online. Like if we even think about when we were going through COVID and people were having their mental issues, mental situations, where was everything? Everything was online. So
Mhm.
that's where they did their research to find somebody that can help them. Their doctor recommended somebody. So I would definitely say that is false. You just have to promote yourself and provide the proper information and the guidance online without heavily selling, letting people know how you help them, why you help them, and how they can receive results. So that is something that has to happen. And sales might not happen right away, but I definitely will guarantee that there will be more engagement in terms of people feeling like you see them, you hear them. And they will start to ask questions. And like people do everywhere, they shop around. So you might get questions and engagements, but maybe might not get the sale. So I definitely would say that's not true. Everybody's online researching and finding
Yeah, I think they're buy
all things.
the buy is in the brand, right? The social media does give the ability, and media, to be on all platforms regardless, is giving you the opportunity to really help a client or a possible demographic understand what you do. And that's the story, that we talk about at the high level. I mean, Gary Vee says it best: if you're not talking, nobody's listening,
That's it.
right? So, you have to really take into account that these companies spend a lot of money, now less because now you can kind of do everything on apps and software that
Mhm.
helps them to tell that story better. But, there's still that: how does the story reach the right
The right people.
audience?
Yeah.
Right? Are you getting fake metrics? Like you have 20,000 followers, but you have 3 comments. Like, there's a red flag there, right?
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah.
So that's definitely leads into sustainability. So let's talk a little bit about that and systems, because systems is dear to my
That's your
heart.
thing. That's your thing.
That's my thing. Forget clothes shopping. Let's go system shopping.
Yes.
So So, what systems or structure should executives put in place so that media supports the business instead of becoming another operational burden?
And you said it right there. There needs to be a system. There
Mhm.
needs to be a system for them of what they're going to post, how they're going to post it, who's going to post it, when it's going to be posted, and why they're posting it. What are they trying to get from that? So
Mhm.
ultimately, the umbrella is they need a system. And that system is either training and using their internal team or hiring external so that it can be done properly. So ultimately, it needs to have a system. So when there is a process, there is no chaos.
Mm.
That was
Clarity.
new. That was new. Was that? Come on, tell me. That was
That was dope.
you know. Tell me.
Dope.
I dropped
Dope.
what?
Dope.
Come on, with process, there's no chaos. Come on and tell me. You give me my flowers all the time when we're on the phone,
I'm giving you
and
the flowers.
I drop a good lyric.
Look, okay, hold on. Let me do the mic drop. Bow. Mic dropped.
Thank you.
That, you see, that's how I know you're learning. You're listening to me when I'm speaking, though, right? So it's clear.
It's clear.
It's clear. Yes, the power of storytelling. Correct. Yes. It
And
also
that's really big
unlocks.
right now. Let's go to that.
Yeah.
I love that, the power of storytelling. That's really big now. So anybody that is in the trenches of social media and trying to figure out what to post and what to do, storytelling is the newest trend right now. To and it's sad to say it's the trend. I think people
But
have been
I'm going to
telling
stop you there.
stories.
I'm going to
Mhm.
stop you there for a quick sec, because it's not a trend.
Right.
It's just that it's easier to tell the story now because there's more resources. Back in the day, you had to use creative ad agencies to tell that story. So
That
whether it was
story for you.
shaving cream, or whether it was underarm deodorant, or there was Miss Molly, household wife,
Right.
putting ice cubes in a tray, and you know what I mean. They had to use a lot more. They had to build that. Now you could just kind of prompt it to say,
And
I
it
have
can do that
Molly.
for you.
Yeah, yeah.
But if
Correct.
you think about what you've been seeing, there was a disconnect. People weren't storytelling, they were just selling. So that's why I
I
use the
don't know.
word.
I would have to disagree with that. I mean,
Yeah.
in the history of advertising has always been mainly storytelling.
No, that I'm talking about, but the people
Oh,
that I've been working with and people coming up in business and what they're doing, they're missing that link. They're just wanting
okay.
to
They're
sell.
missing the originality, to be honest.
That's
That
right. Yes.
creativity is not there, and I mean, and I think that's where the spawn of all these different apps came in now, where you can put a picture in, and now it's moving all over the place and it's
Hmm,
doing this thing.
hmm.
So that I could agree with. Yes,
Yes.
creativity
And
has been waned a little bit, but now it's pretty
it's
powerful.
coming in. So I feel like people are coming in and now the story is being told more clearly. Some people need a little
Mhm.
bit work on that clarity and how they're bringing in their authentic self is the word, that key word, authentic self, bringing their self in and sharing that story. And it's finding a good balance with that, right? So
100% agree.
definitely you need that structure and having that story, being Canadian, being whatever that story is, you got to bring it to the forefront and how it's related to your business. Don't just plop in the story.
Yes.
Have it related
Yes.
to your
a
business.
100%. It has to make sense. And
Hmm.
if you have the right, like, and executives who are putting those right systems and structures in place, you're creating scalable presence without the burnout, right? I mean,
Yes.
you can now produce a lot of content for 30 days in like two
Oh, easy,
hours. You know what I
easy.
mean? I
Yeah,
mean, the struggle is still real for me. I mean, one piece of content still takes me a whole year to get done, but I'm getting better. It's all
you're
about
getting
baby
better. Let's go. You're doing it. You're doing it. But it is true. There's a lot of things out there now. There's a lot of tools and resources to help make it easy. But it doesn't make it easy if you don't have clarity on why you're doing it, who you're doing it for, and how you can help them. All these apps just add confusion if you're not clear
It's
on what
true.
your message is.
It's true. It's like having AI, and you know that those ads that say, "Are you still using AI like Google?" Asking AI, where did I put my glasses? That type of
Yeah.
thing. So it's definitely that. I want to thank you so much. Before we sign off, I want everyone here to make sure that you are following Georgette. I'll put this up on the screen because I'm getting better at remembering. So please make sure you follow Georgette D of the COC on IG. It's up. Let me see. Did I start sharing? Oh, there it is. Yes. So please follow her on COC socials and you can go to her website, cakedoutcoach.ca. She works with all size businesses. And so whether you are executives running a massive company or you're just getting into the game, she's going to help you to post with intention. Her affinity leans towards those who are cake makers and dessert treat, whatever. I just messed
Oh,
that up, but that's what it is.
know what
That's
it is.
me. So remember, everyone, media is no longer optional for leadership, but how you engage matters. So I want to thank Georgette once again, and I'll see you after the show.
All right. Bye.
Take care. So, party people, what you read, saw here is that executives don't need to be loud. You need to be clear, positioned, and intentional. Now, and before we jump into the next segment, I just want to make sure we do a reset of the room. We want to welcome you for coming out tonight and taking the time to learn about how executives are using media in their day-to-day operations. I want you to know you're tuned into Business Weekly right here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, your home for insight, innovation, and innovation. We'd like you to show your support, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and stay connected on the go by downloading the Love Bay Radio app from the Apple App Store or Google Play. Feel free to visit our website to make a donation. Every contribution helps us to continue serving you, and we'd like to hear from you. So reach out at 437-778-3299. Now, my last segment before I sign off is I'd like to bring what's in the news. So the first thing that I want to talk about a little bit is the Black History Month. We know that Black History Month is here. And so preservation is an economic act. So as we're moving through Black history, we see that an important story is unfolding behind the scenes. Across North America, Black communities and philanthropists are stepping up to preserve historic sites, stories, and institutions, often filling gaps left by shrinking public funding. This isn't just about memory, it's about ownership, legacy, and economic power. Now, I like to say, what's in the news and why it matters to executives? Well, cultural preservation is an investment decision, not charity. Heritage drives tourism, education funding, media rights, and long term brand equity. Leaders see culture as an asset class tied to influence and sustainability, not a seasonal moment. So get tapped in. The second thing happening in the news is gold is dropping, and that's a signal, not just a price. We see that gold prices have been under pressure this week, and when gold moves, executives should pay attention. Gold is a confidence indicator. When it drops, it often reflects shifting expectations around interest rates, inflation, and currency strength. This isn't about jewelry or traders, it's about how capital is feeling right now. So, why does this matter? Well, gold reflects risk appetite and macro sentiment. Drops often signal confidence in a rate policy or a stronger dollar, and smart leaders use commodities as early warning indicators, not headlines. So make sure you stay in tune if you're in the market. Understand how the market is running for you to get those signals in check. Next in the news, Canadian markets are feeling the commodity pullback. Here at home, Canadian markets are feeling the ripple effects of global commodity shifts. When precious metals weaken, it hits sectors tied to mining, materials, and exports. And this reminds us that the Canada's economy is deeply connected to global demand cycles, even when the news feels far away. So why does this matter to executives? Because global signals quickly become local balance sheet realities. Leaders are diversifying exposure and scenario planning, and this becomes about resilience, not reaction. And even for smaller businesses who are feeling the lean of the tariffs, we know that a lot of people are struggling either to keep their business, and Canada is really trying to ensure that businesses don't go under based on the fluctuating tariff situations that are happening. Last but not least, Black influence is a leadership story, not just history. Another important Black History Month lens this year is influence. We're seeing more Black leaders shaping finance, policy, and global business strategies at the highest levels. That's not symbolic, that's structural, right? That's structural change. And the influence today is not about who controls the capital decisions and direction. I want to say that again, that the structural change is influencing today is not about who controls capital decisions and direction. Now, why does this matter to executives? Well, leadership pipelines are shifting. Influence equals access, deal flow, and policy proximity. So executives are to be watching who's in the room and who's building the room. And so when you come to Business Weekly, this is what we're doing here. We are creating the levels of access so that you too can be not just an influencer, but an influencer. Okay, so that's what's happening in the news. Make sure that you are keeping your eye. Take a moment. I always say executives do one thing in the morning, they read the news. Why? Because the news is not just what's going on in the world, but it's really telling you what's coming down the pipe. And if you understand how to read the news and how to interpret the news, those market signals really help you to stay above or ahead of the curve in terms of things that are going to happen. So, if you're tuning in here this week, thank you for coming out for this episode. If you've missed it, please feel free to hit the replay. It's usually posted the next day at 12 noon. But remember, Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio is your home for insight, innovation, and inspiration. So please continue to show your support to the guests that are coming here and understand that at the end of the day, we are here to build something legendary. And all the headlines that inform us in the public are signal guides to our signal guides. There goes the word. Signals that guide leaders. So read wisely, move intentionally, and always position yourself ahead of the curve. I am Miss J from Business Weekly right here on Love Day Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, and I'll see you next Thursday.